Silent morning. Jumpstart your awareness in stillness. Tony, a 30-year-old marketing office worker, starts his day in complete silence. Nothing too fancy, just sitting still, breathing gently and letting his thoughts float by like a calm river. It's like giving his brain a little cleanup before the hustle of the day begins. Just like brushing your teeth, but for your mind. Fresh, clear, and ready to roll. Basking in the sunlight. And here comes another simple yet ridiculously effective habit, soaking up some sunshine. Rain or shine, Tony takes 5 minutes each morning to stand under the sun. Not to check the weather or prep for work, but simply to let the natural light hit his face. You know what? That early morning sunlight helps his brain realize it's time to wake up. It boosts serotonin, which helps lift his mood and makes his next night's sleep deeper and more restful. It's like a natural alarm clock, isn't it? Setting long-term perspective. After brewing himself a warm cup of coffee, Tony does something a little weird. Instead of diving straight into emails, trust me, I'm guilty of that too. He looks at something stuck on his desk, a piece of paper that clearly outlines his long-term perspective. Why? Because your brain needs a North Star to navigate. Without one, dopamine gets all wild and chases instant gratification like scrolling the web, checking your phone, or liking pics on Instagram. Sure, it gives you a quick hit, but it doesn't get you anywhere long-term. Tony wants his brain to follow the big picture, not those tiny dopamine hits. And as his brain starts to see every daily effort as a win, he actually starts enjoying the grind. The 25-minute rule, Pomodoro technique. So at 8 a.m., Tony starts his workday at the office. He sets a 25-minute timer and dives straight into the most demanding task at hand. No distractions. Why? Because our brains work in 25-minute cycles. It's called the Pomodoro technique. In these 25 minutes, your brain is at its peak alertness, creativity, and focus. Successful people like athletes, grandmasters, Olympic champs, and even top students swear by this method. Instead of slogging through a 4-hour stretch and feeling drained, Tony works for 25 minutes, then takes a 5-minute break. And the result? By midday, he's already done more than his usual endless grind. His brain? It feels like it's running on full power. Brain food, fueling your mind. At noon, Tony enjoys his lunch. But hold up, no greasy fast food here. He opts for brain-boosting foods that help his neurotransmitters, those little chemicals that make your brain think clearly and feel awesome. Salmon packed with a plate of blueberries and a little dark chocolate for dessert. Yep, you heard me right. Chocolate helps increase blood flow to the brain. But it's not just the food, it's how he eats it. No screens, no web browsing, just pure focus on the meal. Because eating while multitasking just ends up giving you a stomach ache, raising cortisol, and making you forget what you ate in the first place. By honoring his mealtime, Tony provides his brain with the nutrients it needs, readying it for the rest of the day. Walking, brain relax while moving. After lunch, Tony heads out for a stroll. No headphones, no background music, just a simple 10-minute walk. But what's the science behind it? When you walk, especially in nature, your brain enters a state called the default mode network, which is like a rest mode for your brain where creative thoughts blossom. This is when you get those awesome ideas that don't usually pop up during work. Plus, walking increases blood flow to the brain, reduces stress hormones, and even helps grow the hippocampus, the memory center of your brain. So yeah, exercise is basically intelligence in motion. Nap time. Giving your brain a break. We've all been there. Eyes drooping, focus disappearing into the abyss by afternoon. So Tony's got a genius little habit I think you should try. Napping. Around 1 p.m., instead of pushing through the workday like most people, Tony does something many will call lazy. He sets a 20-minute timer, lays back on the couch, closes his eyes, and does absolutely nothing. No phone, no alarms, just a power nap. But guess what? It doesn't mess with his nighttime sleep. On the contrary, it helps his brain recharge. When he wakes up, he feels sharper, calmer, and ready to tackle the rest of the day. Sometimes the smartest thing to do is take a little rest. Socializing with colleagues, connecting with people. Tony also knows the value of socializing. No matter how busy his work gets, he always makes time for face-to-face chats with friends and colleagues. Not texting, not emailing, just real human connection. And why is this so important? Because oxytocin, the hormone that makes us feel happy and friendly, is released during these conversations. It helps reduce anxiety, boosts language skills, and keeps Tony feeling human in a world full of screens. Sure, those little chats are like magic. They help you feel truly connected to the world. Disconnects with social media, taming the dopamine monster. Around 5 p.m., after finishing work, Tony does what most people avoid. He disconnects. No phone, no social media, no notifications. Every buzz, beep, or like on social media gives your brain a little dopamine hit, which feels pretty great. But if you overload on dopamine, it creates a negative loop. You lose focus, get addicted to new stuff, and your brain starts hunting for the next dopamine fix instead of diving into deep thoughts. By creating tech-free zones, Tony is retraining his brain to enjoy the stillness. And it's in his quiet that deep thinking, problem-solving, and long-term memory are built. Light exercise. No need to exhaust yourself. At 5:30 p.m., Tony doesn't collapse into exhaustion. Instead, he stretches, does some light yoga, or goes for a slow walk while enjoying some smooth jazz. Why? Because gentle exercise boosts creativity, keeps him sharp, and even helps reduce stress. It's not just about moving your body, but these light exercises also stimulate your brain, making you more creative, improving your mood, and making it easier to learn new things. People often think only high-intensity workouts matter, but in reality, these gentle, purposeful movements can recharge your brain without draining your body. These exercises also reduce stress and prepare your mind to take in fresh knowledge. Cold shower. At 6:30 p.m., Tony heads to the shower, but not to relax under a warm stream of water. He opts for a cold shower. Yep, you heard that right. Cold showers are seriously uncomfortable, but there's a reason behind it. When you're hit with cold water, your brain activates norepinephrine, a neurotransmitter that keeps you alert, boosts focus, and improves your mood. Sounds like a natural medicine, right? But wait, there's more. Cold showers also train your brain to build resilience. Every time you feel that discomfort, your brain is learning how to handle tough situations, making it easier to control your emotions in real life. It's not exactly the most fun thing in the world, but the feeling afterward is like a bolt of lightning to your brain. In a good way, of course. Curiosity hour, nurturing your inner child. Around 9 p.m., Tony picks up a book. And not just any book, no self-help or productivity hacks here. He chooses books that genuinely spark his curiosity. Why? Because curiosity, scientifically speaking, is one of the best ways to activate your brain. When you're curious, it's like your brain is getting a sweet treat, like eating chocolate or making money, but without the calories or the risk of going broke. And here's the fun part. Your brain actually retains information better when you're curious. Sounds unbelievable, right? But it's true. You'll remember even the random stuff you pick up while exploring your curiosity. Whether it's a documentary, a fun podcast, or an interesting book, curiosity is like a workout for your brain. It keeps your mind flexible and youthful. You don't age because of time. You age because you stop learning. The Problem Diary, Tony's secret night ritual. After reading a book, Tony has a pretty unusual habit. He opens his diary and writes down an unresolved problem from the day. Just simply jotting down the issue. No immediate solution required, and no pressure to come up with an answer right away. It could be a creative block, a business decision still up in the air, or just a tough life situation. Letting his brain start processing it while he sleeps. Sounds strange, right? But here's the thing. When we sleep, our brains aren't designed to store tasks. They're designed to solve them. By doing this, Tony gives his brain a break, like closing the loop on an unfinished task. The result? Better sleep, less stress, and by the next morning, his brain is ready to reboot and take on a new day. Ensuring a good night's sleep, where the real growth happens. By 10:30 p.m., Tony heads to bed. No phone screens, just the soft glow of a nightlight. You know, sleep isn't just for resting. It's actually the process of brain cell regeneration. While you sleep, your brain flushes out toxins, strengthens memories, and forms new neural connections. And yet, we often skip out on a good night's sleep. Without enough rest, everything you learned that day just evaporates. Tony makes sure to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep, treating it as the most important part of his day. Because the simplest habit to supercharge your brain is getting enough sleep, and yet it's the one thing we tend to neglect. So, with just a few tweaks to your daily routine, you can keep your brain fresh and ready to take on the long day ahead. And if you haven't tried any of these habits yet, why not give them a shot today? Who knows, you might just discover a new superpower within yourself. Don't forget to hit subscribe and drop a comment below about the brain-boosting habits you swear by.